Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Paul Lamere. This is Your City, Your Voice, coming to you live from the studios of 4680Q in downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. Here for another day on January the 6th. It's a little bit warmer out there today, a little bit warmer. It's getting nicer. The meteor crater's still covered in snow, though, so we don't have to worry about that. That's still white. If you want to see white, you come down here. It's right there. It's all full of white. Hasn't melted yet, but we're going up into the 40s, they said. So you never know. We may get a little bit more white or a little less white. This is the time of year. This is where we live. This is where we chose to live. Maybe some of us didn't, but that's where we are. So you get what you get, and part of that is the white stuff. But for better for worse, it's pretty nice out there. I got up at 4 this morning. Yeah, don't ask me why. I don't know. I wake up and I get up. That's it. I don't know what time it is. I just get up. 34 degrees, 72% humidity. The barometer is sitting at 2913, dropped to 2900 by noon here. And if it keeps dropping, that's the low pressure coming in. Low pressure brings bad weather. So I think they're expecting some rain, freezing rain this afternoon. I hope it holds off for a little while. I got a couple things I got to get done today, and I'd like to get them done without getting soaked or falling down on freezing rain, because that's what we're supposed to get. Could get nasty out there. This isn't the weather to get stuck into, and that's why I always bring up Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop every day, so that you guys don't procrastinate. You get your car and you get it checked out for the winter. We've been lucky. It hasn't been bad, but you know what's coming. It's January. We had about 8 more weeks to get through before we're into March. So you want to get your car in, get it checked out at the last minute here. Don't procrastinate. Get it checked out. You've got nothing to lose. You won't get broke down on the side of the road in miserable weather, and you're going to be happy you listened to me. Ken's going to go through all your car. He's going to go through it from top to bottom, front to back, bumper to bumper, coolant system. Make sure your defrosters work and your heats work and your wipers are good. Your battery's good. And he says this time of year, suspension parts are the big problem with cars. They get all frozen up and everything. And then they can break and they get in rough shape. Go get it checked out today. Don't fool around. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Oakwood Drive, next to the Kia dealership, wildbillsauto.ca. And while you're in there looking at wildbillsauto.ca, don't forget to check in to my Facebook page. Yeah, you can do that too. I got a Facebook page. But to my YouTube channel, Paul Lemire 4973, or just search for Your City, Your Voice. You can go in there, watch past videos, watch the existing videos. I put them on. They're on every day by about 3:00 for you radio listener fans of mine. You can go watch the video live and see my antics on air if you want. So don't forget, subscribe though. Subscribe, thumbs up, leave a comment. The algorithm tracks this kind of stuff. It gets my show out there to more people. The more the merrier. We have an election coming up this year. This is the election year. We're going to be talking a lot about that today. And we want to make sure we get more than 27% out so we get the city council we deserve. And I happen to think everybody in Niagara Falls deserves a good city council. What about you? Yeah, so there you go. And get to my other sponsor, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. Going to get to them in about halfway through the show. So 12:30, we'll talk about Pete's Pizza. And that's about it. I'm glad you could tune in. We got a new year going on, 2026 here. There's a lot of stuff going on this year, and I got some good rumors for you. So we'll see what's going on. So what I wanted to do today is basically take a look at city council. They're all running, well, I don't know if they're all going to run for re-election, but the incumbents will probably be throwing their hat into the ring. Most of them anyway. And we'll just kind of talk about what I think they're going to do, what's going to happen here, who's running, who isn't, who's going to win, who's going to get booted out, and some variables that may change everything that we know about elections in this city. A lot of interesting stuff going on, a lot of people talking. So we're going to talk about that. But let's just go through the rest of council. The council in no particular order, just randomly. I'm going to go around the horseshoe and talk about every single one of them and what I think is going to happen here. So we know the incumbents have a huge advantage over the people who are running as new people. They're looking to displace our city council. The problem is most of them are too nice. And what I mean by that is that you can't run thinking that without having a reason to run. In other words, if somebody says why you're running for city council, you got to have a reason. And I think I can do better. No, that's not a good reason. That's not going to. Nobody's going to vote for you because you think you can do better. You got to come up with things that you're going to do that are better, that are going to make you better. What has the other council done that has upset you so much you're running to take their position? If you don't have a good reason for running, then you're not going to win. You shouldn't be running. You've got to think that you have more ideas, you have more qualifications, and we're going to go through that on other shows. What we as voters should be looking for on city council. But for now, you've got to go out there if you're going to run, and you've got to beat the winner, right? I mean, that's the way it is. In boxing, you got to beat the champ. You can't just tie the game. You're not gonna get the decision. The champ is always going to get the decision. You have to beat them, and in order to beat the city council, you have to come up with reasons why you think they're incompetent, you think they haven't done a great job, and how you're going to make it better. All the while, remembering the mandate of city council. What are they there to do? What are they there to do? Because that's so important. When do they overstep their mandate? What should they be doing for taxpayers? What is their actual job? And I advise everybody to go in and Google what is the job of a city councilor or an elected municipal official. That's a great place for you to start right there by finding out what your job will be if you get elected. Very important. So, Councilor Victor Peterangelo, he's in. He's going to run again. He's going to get elected. Conflicts of interest and all. I mean, he's declared a lot of them with this hospital in that area out there, but he'll get elected again. I mean, he's pretty well locked in. He's got his voters that'll vote for him every time. He hasn't done anything great, nor has he done anything bad. He's just run down the middle of the road, hasn't upset anybody. Nobody's ever mad at Victor Peterangelo. So, I mean, I think he'll get his votes. He'll be all right. Victor's going to be all right this time around if he runs again, and I think he'll run again. There's no reason not. He's retired now. As a matter of fact, I don't think he'd run for mayor against Diodati, but if Diodati ever bowed out for some reason, which he says he's not gonna this time around, then he would definitely, I think, take a shot at it, and I think he'd have a good shot. I've said that for a long time. Councilor Strange. Well, I think if Councilor Strange runs, I think he'll get in. I know, he's got all this baggage. He's got all the baggage there is out there. I mean, he got 10,000 votes nearly last election. And you know what? All those people who voted for him, they're still going to vote for him. It's one of those things, even with this baggage and even with that. Now, his trial comes up in April. And if he gets convicted, he may not be able to run. But I think either it's going to be just pushed to the side, it'll be quietly settled by April, or it'll be remanded again and it'll come up after the election. He'll get through the election campaign and the election, and then it'll come up again in November, December or something. But I think he'll get elected. That's the way the people in Niagara Falls are. I don't think he's going to be the leading vote getter this time. I think he's going to lose some votes, but is he going to lose 4,000? Enough to knock him out? This is Niagara Falls, ladies and gentlemen. Mike will get in. You listening, Mike? I think you'll get in. Councillor Van Nieuwesteg. I don't think she deserves another term. Probably the worst performance over the last 4 years. Maybe worse than even Patel. Them two are neck and neck for worst performances for sure. But we're talking Niagara Falls here. If anybody's going to squeak back in, it could be her. I think she'll be on the bubble. She's on the bubble, like Dabrowski and Carrier were last time out. And she could be displaced very easily. I mean, really, when you think about these guys, if she wasn't on council, would it be any worse off? No. Being on council, is it any better off? No. I mean, there's better people that could take her position there. Let's face it. Come on. But we'll see what happens. But I just don't think, oh man, I don't think she's going to get back in. I don't think anybody who knows has watched city council and that definitely will understand why. I don't think she's getting back in. I'm probably wrong. Like I say, we always have to take in the Niagara Falls factor. And if 27% of the people go out and vote, that makes it all the better for any incumbent. Any who I said I don't think they're going to make it, well, guess what? That's thrown out the window at 27%. If we had 40% or 50% turning out, there'd be a lot of changes, but no. Councillor Vince Carrier, well, he was thrown out by the voters last time, really didn't want the job anyway. And he was in the paper saying, well, I don't know if I'm going to run it out. We'll have to see. I got some irons in the fire and blah, blah, blah. I just don't think he's even going to run. To be honest with you, I don't think he's going to run. I don't think he wanted to last time. He did, but I don't think he really had his heart all into it. He got appointed after Councillor Campbell died, God rest his soul. But he's there for the rest of the term, which was about a year, or something like that. So I just don't see him running again. I think he's just going to bow out and that's it. I think he's had enough. That's my opinion. It doesn't mean I'm right. Councillor Lococo. Okay, she's going to run again. She came second, only 100 or so votes behind Mike Strange last time. And I think if she didn't hit your wagon to Iannone, in the NDP, because Iannone ran for regional and was backed by Wayne Gates. Oh, he was gushing over that, this NDP, right? And she kind of hooked her wagon to Iannone a little bit. And I think that cost her the top position, top votes. She stays out of that fray. She will probably be the top vote getter of the bunch. She just missed last time, yielding to Strange. Strange isn't going to I don't think he's going to get number one this time. Too much baggage, too much going on. And it depends if anybody takes him on about it. Here's a guy who's accused of assaulting his live-in girlfriend or whatever and got charged for it. She had to get treatment for it. She was injured. I mean, is that the guy you want on city council? It's easy to make a case. And even if you don't knock him out, you can knock him down. So we'll see if anybody that's running has the balls to attack him on that. And that'll hurt a little bit. But I think Councilor Lococo is going to be the one to get the highest number of votes. And if the ringmaster ever dropped out, she may run for mayor. And I think she could win mayor. I really, really do. I don't think she could beat Jim Diodati, though. I just don't think so. Jim's got his votes in there, 15,000 votes. He gets it all the time. He's steady with that. Very, very, very hard to beat. And like I told you last show, a guy came up to me who was running for mayor and said, do you think I can win? I said, do you think you can get 15, 16,000 votes? The guy says, ooh, that's a lot of votes. I'm going, dang right it is. Like 3,000, 4, that's a lot of votes. 15,000, that's a whole different ball game. And Jim gets it consistently. He has his guys. the 27% of the people who voted for Jimmy. His guys all came out and voted for him. Let's face it. That's why he won easily. He should have just been acclaimed because the people who were running against him really didn't have a prayer. I don't think she can challenge King James for mayor, but she definitely can be the leading alderman getter. And if there's ever a chance of Jim dropping out, I think she could do it then. Councillor Tony, I am not the MP Baldinelli. Well, I swear to God, this guy stops breathing at times, and he got elected by people who thought he was the other Tony Baldinelli. Now, I don't doubt he's a good guy. He seems like a great guy. But really, on city council, you needed to put a mirror under his nose to make sure he was still breathing. My nickname was No Dose. I mean, I don't know if he's going to run again. He probably will. And he's in the same realm as Van Nieuwesteg, on the bubble, a big question mark this time out. I don't know. I just don't see him getting enough votes to do it, but he did last time after his performance of 4 years. I just don't see why anybody would elect him back. He really didn't do anything in 4 years, other than vote. And the same with all of these people except Laurie Lococo. They all voted to raise our taxes like 25% over the last 4 years. Is that what you want back on council? Okay, well, that's up to you. Councillor Mona Patel, she'll run again. Guaranteed she'll run again. She's even she's the worst councillor maybe there. Her and News. She'd run again on arrogance. She's arrogant. I mean, let's face it. She wants to be mayor. And if she ever ran, she could be a threat. I don't know about being a threat to Jim Diodati. He's got a lot of voters, but I'm telling you, there are enough of her people in this town. And I've heard them say, we're voting for Mona Patel because she's our people. So make no mistake, they will vote for each other. They do vote. And they turn out to vote for somebody like Mona Patel. So that alone could put her over the top. I don't think she could beat Jimmy. And if Jimmy runs, I don't think she'll ever run for mayor against Jimmy. But I'm telling you, she's going to get back in. If she runs, she will get back in. She has the backing of her party. She is the candidate. When I looked at her funds who donated to her campaign, I wanted to know 75% of her donations were from outside of Niagara Falls. They weren't even people in Niagara Falls. I think she raised 12,000, 10,000 was something like that. Was from outside of Niagara Falls. Go look it up. I can't remember. I looked it up 3 or 4 years ago. I'm trying to go on memory, which is a big mistake because I'm probably not right. But I know 75% of her donations were from out of town. So she's going to get back in. You can almost guarantee it. Get your Google Translator out. I can't understand her half the time. Her performance was dismal. Really was. Pretty well a time waster on council. She wasn't there, you wouldn't miss her. She was there, it doesn't make a difference. It just wastes more time and costs us more money. But she'll get back in. I'm giving her a check mark to get back in, just like I'm giving Councillor Lococo, Councillor Strange, Councillor Peter Angelo. Those 4, I think they're pretty well a shoe-in. Chris Dabrowski, well, he got thrown out once. He managed to rise like a phoenix when Thompson stepped down. He was next up in the batter's box. Now, I don't mind Chris as a counselor. He always gives me a little bit of the impression that Chris is out for Chris, and I've heard a lot of people tell me that. He plays the game very well. I've dealt with him before. I like the guy. He's a good guy. I don't know if he can gender the votes he needs to stay on council. Like last time, they didn't vote for him. He got displaced. He got sent packing. And I don't know if he's going to be able to pull this off again. I don't know if he can. He'll give it a good shot. He'll give it a good run. He plays the game well, but like he's more of like a on city council. He's a little bit like an entertainment director. He comes up with these great ideas. Selling part of the Memorial Arena and cards he's going to make up to raise money and blah blah blah. He's good with that stuff, and you can see that he's good at Comic Con and all the other events he throws. Event planner. How effective is he is on city council? I mean, it's a typical guy who talks about the budget and then taxpayers, our taxpayers, and then when they come down to vote, he puts his hand up and votes for it. I mean, if you had any kind of real conviction that you want to save the taxpayers' money, first of all, you would come up with something, some efficiencies. Didn't come up with anything. You would also vote against the budget because you don't like they're raising taxes for the citizens. And that's what you said when you talked about the budget. So, there's that conviction. Lori Lococo didn't like parts of the budget, so she couldn't vote for it. She voted against it. Not all of it. She liked a lot of it, but there were parts that she didn't like. She wanted to get changed or removed, so she couldn't vote for it. The other ones, they talk like they don't like pieces, but they vote for it anyway. So that tells me there's no conviction there. You got to have conviction. 7-4, one against. The one against everything to save taxpayers' money is Lori, and the other ones put their hands up. Very seldom do you see any support in that realm. I think Chris is one right in there with that. I don't think he's going to get put back in again. He got sent packing last time. I think it's going to come up the very same way. So there you go. That's my take on it. Victor Peterangelo in. Strange in if they run again. Newest dig on the bubble. I can't call that one. We're in Niagara Falls. Cario, I don't think he's going to even bother running. Lococo in. Aldinelli out. Patel, she's going to be in. She's got the support she needs from her community to be able to get in. And Dabrowski out. So there you go. That's what I think. Let's see what happens. Write them down. Write it down. See if I'm right or wrong. Now we do have some up and comers though. Can't forget about them, right? And I'm just going by last election. I sat down with most of the incumbents. I think the only two I missed were Patel and Baldinelli. They never bothered coming in the studio. They didn't want to come in. They never replied, whatever. And I did interview, I think, almost every one that was running for city council, all the new people. I think the only one I missed was Jody Burnett. I asked him, he didn't bother coming in. He wouldn't come in or whatever. And, that's strange because he's been on the show a few times now. He's a good guy, and I like having him in here. He's very knowledgeable. He knows what he's doing. So when we look at who's running this time, well, I got John Ringo Beam. He says he's going to run for mayor. We'll see about that. He said he's going to anyway. He said it right on the show here. He was in here. He said, I'm running. I think that Ann Radicic, if you remember Ann, she'll give it another go. She was an excellent interviewer. She's a very smart businesswoman. She knows what she's doing. She was taking courses on how to work on a regional council or a municipal council, on municipal government, just like Lori Lococo is. She's got 3 years of taking these courses. Well, Ann's also taken them, so she's well aware of what it takes. She ran a really good campaign. She was a little bit short of getting a seat on council, but she's qualified, and she would be a good one. I don't know if she's running again. I think she will. I hope she will, and see if she gives it another kick at the can here. She's a businesswoman. She's really good. Dan Moody, another good guy. Not sure if he'll run or not, but he did give it a shot last time. Didn't make it the first time out. Another kick at the can. He's an NRP, Niagara Regional Police, the sergeant at arms at City Hall. He kind of knows the routine. He was a couple thousand short last time. He's on the bubble. I mean, if somebody else dropped out of city council now, I think he's next up. He ran a good campaign, and it could put him right in the mix this time around. He's a little bit better known. He's been through it once. So Dan Moon, if he runs, he'll be an interesting guy to look at. Now, a guy that never ran before, but that is basically, to me, looks like he's campaigning, is Sonny Halani. Now, Sonny owns the UPS store on McLeod Road. You look at any pictures, he's in every picture. He goes to all these things, all these photo events. I mean, way more than he was ever in these pictures. And I'm just thinking, well, this is a real good indication that he's going to throw his hat in the ring. I haven't talked to him. I know Sonny. Haven't talked to him. Don't know if he's going to or not, but just from seeing what I see, I would say that he's all there. He's always there. He's with the muckety muck, shaking hands, patting them on the back. He's at all the events now. He's always got his mug in front of the camera. That's a good indication somebody's thinking about something. So Sonny Halani, keep an eye out for him. And once again, he has this community, right? Same with Mona Patel. There's that community. He's well known. He's going to get a lot of votes outside of his community too. So if he runs, I'd say Sonny has a great shot. And he's a good guy, a businessman. He knows what he's doing. He's a pretty sharp character. Mike Cushman, a great guy, a real Niagara Falls environmentalist. He's all over the falls. He's taking care of business as far as the environment goes. But he's not a one-trick pony. And I think last election, because of his work with contaminated lands and that kind of thing, I think Mike gets pegged. He gets put in one hole. He gets pegged in one hole. And I don't mean pegged the way you see it on TikTok. He's like, people think of him as an environmentalist. But Mike knows as much about city council as anybody. He follows them religiously. He knows the ins and outs. He knows the budget. He's very, very good, much like Gary Wilkins. Both very good. If he runs, though, he has a problem because he doesn't want to print anything. Probably one reason is because of the cost. And the other reason is basically he doesn't want to kill trees and that kind of thing. But it's really tough when you're running at large to get your name out there and become a household name without doing some form of flyer distribution or something like that. It's impossible to run from house to house and hit enough parts of the city to get elected. It's very, very tough. If you don't believe me, ask Peter Giblett. So without having that at his disposal and not wanting to take money from anybody for his campaign, it's very, very tough for Mike. Unless he changes his stance on that and understands that sometimes you stand by an ideology that you could make a difference on city council with, but unfortunately that stance won't get you on city council. And before you can make changes, you've got to get elected. Once you're there, fine, you can worry about that kind of stuff. But before that, you got to do what you have to do to get elected. And I'm not talking about dirty politics or anything. That's what I would do. But if you're going to do good things for city council, you first have to be able to sit in that chair. And so when you come up with, I'm not going to print out flyers because of this and that and everything else, well, you're putting yourself at a big disadvantage. And you can change stuff if you're sitting in the chair. If you're not sitting in that chair, whoever's sitting there is going to do what they want. So you got to get in the chair. That's my point. Jody Burdett, another good one, but campaigning was very lax. I mean, Jody really didn't campaign. No signs, no nothing. The only thing I saw from Jody Burdett, and I didn't even see him, I didn't know it was him anyway, is a guy rode up on one of those electric scooters, the electric stand-up scooters, up the driveway. He came up the front porch and put a sticky thing on my front door, sticker like, and said the name of his business or something and his name, and on the back of my, I didn't even know if it said city council. But that's all I got. And I don't think that's enough. You're going to have to campaign. I mean, he's got to make up 4,500 votes. I don't think you're going to be doing it that way. You're going to have to spend a little bit of money and get out there. So Jody, great guy. He knows what he's doing. You see him at city council all the time. He's giving these guys advice from his the shadow government of Niagara Falls or whatever he calls it. But I thought he was a kook, but he's not. He's a smart guy. He knows this stuff inside out. Is he going to be able to get the people on his side, to get the people to vote for him, to let the people know he knows a lot? He's a businessman too. He runs his own business. That's the question. I think he'll run again. Tanya Hartford, she seemed like a good candidate. She's sensible, smart. But she hitched her wagon to the NDP. And listen, municipal and regional government is nonpartisan. Nobody wants to hear your views on being liberal or Republican or Democrat or whatever conservative, progressive conservatives. No, it's a nonpartisan position. There's no politics in municipal and regional government. You work for the people. So in that vein, you start hooking your wagon to Iannone and people like that, and the NDP party, you get labeled, and that's the end of your act. And I think if she didn't do that, she may have got more votes. She was 4,000 short. I think she'll run again. And I'm not saying she's a bad candidate, but after that hookup with the NDP, I couldn't give her my vote. It's not my party, and I don't want to see NDP values or socialist values brought to the city council table and make decisions based on that view. That was a tough one for me because I really like Tanya, and she's a smart girl, very, very smart. But at the end of the day, it ain't my cup of tea. So that, I think she's got to get away from that, just distance herself from these politics and run on working for the people. Peter Giblett, the hardest working candidate out there last time we ran an election in Niagara Falls. Unfortunately, that hard work sometimes doesn't translate to votes. A lot of people who didn't put in the work he did got more votes than him. And that's a sad statement when somebody works so hard to get in there. I don't know if people just didn't like him. I don't know if they didn't have faith in him. I don't know. He worked hard. That's one thing I can tell you. And he'd work hard if he was on city council as well. Yeah, he's going to have to make up 5,000 votes this time around. Boy, that's a that's a quantum leap. That's a quantum leap. 5,000 more votes. He's going to have to come up with one hell of a plan to make that up. And I think if he runs again, he probably won't get elected. Good guy, knowledgeable, pays attention. But at the end of the day, for some reason, he doesn't have that electability factor. For all the work he done, he should have been up 4,000 or 5,000 votes and just be looking to make a little bit more, maybe get another center of influence or something like that, push him over the top. But he's a long way from that. Okay, so do you have anybody you think will run? How do you think the incumbents are going to do? Do you think they'll all run again? Or will some of them bow out this time around? Let me know in the comments. Comment on the video. Let me know. You can also send me a message and I'll tell people what you think right now. 289-994-7560. That's 289-994-7560. I'll get the text message and we'll go from there. How about that? So, of course, they're just the ones that I'm thinking of off the top of my head that were in here and kind of, look pretty good to me. There's going to be more as we head into the summer, of course. Candidates can register after May 1st and have to be registered by August 21st, nomination day. Candidates can campaign after the candidates file their nomination papers. And don't worry, I'm going to be talking about this a lot more. Every person who walked in this studio, I had a sheet of questions and I put down replies. I still have all those sheets. So as people announce their candidate, as people announce that they are going to be a candidate, they're running, I will pull out their sheets if they ran before, and I'll give you the lowdown of what they thought about different questions I asked about. So hang tight. We'll see what happens. There's going to be more. We'll see what happens as we get closer. So stay tuned for that one. Okay. Now there's a monkey wrench that could be thrown into all of this. All of the stuff that I just talked about may not matter. It may not matter by October 26th. I'm going to tell you why in a second after I talk about Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. And whenever I get a pizza, the first thing I look for is consistency. How many times have you been to a pizzeria and you get a pizza and it's fantastic? You bring it home, it's the best pizza you ever had. So I got to get another one. You order another one a week later and you bring it home, it's terrible. The consistency is what you got to look for when you're ordering a pizza. Pete's Pizza has that down to a science because they use the Mancini family recipe, which has been around for 40 years, tried and true. They use it for the sauce. They use the recipe for the crust. Two of the most important things on pizza: sauce and crust. Take a blend of mozzarella and brick cheese, put it on the pizza in the right ratios to the sauce so you get the full flavors. Knock on some fresh toppings: pepperoni, peppers, green peppers, hot peppers, olives, black olives, you name it. You got a good base, you're going to have a good pizza. And that's what Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue does. One of the best in the city. And they just opened a new location, Thoroldstone Road and Kaler Road, for you people out in the northwest part of Niagara Falls. Now you can get great pizza too. Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, 905-374-2222. That's all you got to do. Dial the number. They'll get you a pizza. If you don't want them to deliver it, there's Skip, there's Dine. They use them all. Open till 2 in the morning, Friday and Saturday. Open till midnight during the week. Yeah, not a problem. They're open all the time. You can get a pizza no matter what time you want it. Unless you're looking for one at 4 in the morning, but you're not going to get one anywhere anyway. There's no 24-hour pizzerias in Niagara Falls. Unless they're playing cards in the back room or something. Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. You can't go wrong. Give them a call today. They have specials all the time. Look for their specials. And tell them Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you. They're great corporate citizens. Good, small business in Niagara Falls, which we always want to support. Okay, let's go. So what is this? What could happen that would throw a monkey wrench in all this election stuff? And I got a message from somebody. I'm not going to say who. Because there's rumors flying like crazy about what's going to happen with everybody. And what I heard, and I don't know if it's true, like I say, it's just rumors, but I consider my sources pretty good. A lot of stuff they said comes true. This is what I heard. Doug Ford is going to announce that the region is going to be broken into 4 districts or wards, with Niagara Falls, Fort Erie, and Niagara Lake making up one of those 4 wards. And I heard each of these wards is going to have, I think, 8 counselors. 4 will be from Niagara Falls, 2 from Fort Erie, 2 from Niagara and the Lake. And that would be dropping down from 8 in Niagara Falls alone. So we'd have 8 counselors for the whole area. Instead of 8 just from Niagara Falls and whatever they have in Fort Erie, and that they probably got 6 or 8 there, and another 6 or 8 in Niagara and the Lake. So we're going to drop from 24 to 8, something like that. It might not be right on all the numbers. I didn't research it. This is a rumor. I'm just giving it to you. If numbers could change, who knows? But this is the idea. So that means that if you go to the 4 wards, and they're going to have 8 counselors for each ward. There's 4 of them. That's 32 counselors. And of course, the 4 mayors. 1 mayor from each ward representing them on regional council. So that would drop the number of politicians in just the whole region from 126 to 36. That's a substantial drop. Now, I don't know if there's going to be regional counselors. I never really got into that. Never heard anything about that. Maybe 2 per ward for a total of 8 regional counselors plus the regional chair. That could be what's going to happen. I don't know. I'm just telling you these things I hear. So that'd be 12 people sitting around the regional council. Now, that changes the whole dynamic of the election coming up on October 26th. If that goes down, Mayor Diodati is going to run for the to represent the Niagara district, Niagara ward, whatever you want to call it. He's going to run, and I would suspect that Redicop from Fort Erie will run, and maybe even Zalepa from Niagara and Lake may take a shot. All 3 of them might run. Who knows? And who knows who else is going to throw their hat in? It could get crazy. And I think at that point, being on council will almost be a full-time job. I mean, you're going to be running from Fort Erie to Niagara and the Lake and all points in between. Pretty big region for 8 counselors to run. So you never know. It could turn into a full-time job. Maybe they'll even want them to sit on regional council as well. I don't know. I don't know if part-timers could do it. And of course, their pay would go up accordingly. We know that. But this changes a lot, because I also heard that the chair of the Niagara Parks Commission is a part-time job. Now, I thought it was a full-time job. They were there every day being chair, but apparently the chair gets paid per diem, $350 for chairing the monthly meetings and attending events on behalf of the Parks Commission. They get paid for that kind of thing. Grand openings and, these new events and that kind of thing. Now, Mayor Jim wouldn't have time for that if he was going to run for the mayor of the Niagara district. So I was thinking he was going to get offered that position, but if all this goes down, he probably won't. Now, if it doesn't go down, then he can still be chair of the Niagara Parks Commission and do the job as mayor. Now, that's one thing I didn't know, because I thought it was a full-time position, chairman of the Niagara Parks Commission. You had to be there every day working. But apparently you don't. They're basically there when needed and for meetings. So Mayor Jim could be mayor. He could run for mayor, get elected mayor, and do that job. I don't think he'd give up the mayor's job, because there's not enough money to be made as chairman of the parks. It's more of a prestige position than a supporting job. So he'll stay as mayor. Now, that's why he said he's going to run again, because that has no effect on that kind of thing. And that's why Bob Gale sat on regional council while he was chairman of the Parks Commission. So it's going to be interesting what's going to happen. Now, I know this is crazy. This is crazy because if Jim isn't the chair of the Niagara Parks Commission, who would be? And somebody floated the idea, and it wasn't the first time I've heard this, that Ruth Van Nieuwesteg could be the chair of the Parks Commission. Now, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But then again, I thought about it. And I thought about it hard. And you know what? In a way, it kind of makes sense. She fell on the sword in the last election for the Conservative Party, for Doug Ford. She wasn't elected to represent the party in Niagara Falls, Niagara District, whatever you want to call it. She wasn't elected. She was appointed, which disappointed a lot of conservatives because she definitely wasn't the most qualified. But then again, if they knew they weren't going to beat Gates, you need a Bob Dole. You need a Bob Dole. You need a Huckleberry to send there, and it won't matter if she gets hammered, landslided, if she didn't have a prayer. And then you don't ruin other good candidates. So she went and she fell on the sword. And when you fall on the sword, you get rewarded by the party. She already was appointed to the Destination Ontario board. A nice little plum. So why not her as the chair? What a nice little appointment, because the reigning government of Ontario does appoint the chairman of the Niagara Parks Commission. Could that be out of reach for her? I would say if they were looking at qualifications, definitely. But when you fall on the sword, you get rewarded. And as much as that's a crazy rumor that's going around, I'm giving it a lot more credence right now. And this whole Ford thing, saying they're going to all of a sudden amalgamate Niagara and have four separate districts, wards, whatever you want to call them. Now you've got to rethink what councilors are going to get elected. There's only 4. Who are viable candidates that could possibly be elected? Now, Niagara Falls has 100,000 people. Niagara Lake has, what, 20 grand? Fort Erie, what, 30 maybe, or something like that? So Niagara Falls still is going to have 4 councilors, and we're going to have a lot of the say about who gets elected from Niagara Falls. We'll have our own election for our reps. But that really throws a monkey wrench. I think Lococo could still win. I think Peter Angelo could still win. Patel, I mean, you got to give her a look, because I mean, she's going to get her community to vote for her. And the rest is, who knows? The last position is a wild card. Anybody could get that. Anybody could get that. That's wide open. Anybody sitting there as an incumbent, and depends on the turnout like usual, but anybody could get that this time around if that actually happens. I mean, it's going to be wide open. You've got to think that some of these guys who aren't well known probably won't get in. There's only 4 spots. I mean, they're going to have to all jump for them. Are we going to be able to get any new people in? Boy, that's going to be a tough one. So it's going to be interesting. And Ford has said he wants to change the way the region does business, because it's too top heavy, too many politicians for this size of a region, and he wants to change it. Now, I heard it's going to happen in the spring, by April, May, by nomination day. And I said, well, come on, that's not a lot of time. You got to put this all together. And the person told me it's done. They've already got it down on paper. They know exactly how they're going to do it, how it's going to work, what's going to go where, who's going to run what. They just have to drop it, and it happens. And I always say, take these rumors with a grain of salt, but where there's smoke, there's fire. Now, here's the bad thing for Niagara Falls. We had $20 million to ourselves. We didn't have to share it with these other chamokes. Now we do. It's going to go to this district where the casinos are. So now all of a sudden, we have other players in that game. We got to share. We're one big thing now. If they couldn't operate with 20 million extra in this city, what's it going to look like when they have a third of that or a quarter of that or whatever? Even if they get the lion's share, half of it, and the other is split up between Fort Erie and Niagara Lake because we actually host the casino, so we should get more. It's still a far cry from what they were getting before, so it's going to be very, very, very interesting if this comes down the pipe. Keep your eyes open. I'm going to watch it. I'll let you know what's going on. What I hear, if I hear anything, if you hear anything, let me know. John Ringo Beam, he's always talking about this kind of stuff. He's always talking about. He may even have been the guy who told me a couple months ago that Ruth Van Nieuwesteeg is going to be the chair. Somebody told me that. I can't remember who. But then I got it again from somebody else. So now I'm starting to think, yeah. Okay, enough of that. So our MP, Tony Baldinelli. You know, Tony Baldinelli, not the one on city council, the MP, the real Tony Baldinelli, the real Slim Shady, says he fully supports Pierre Poilievre to lead the PC party. And he will survive a leadership review. Huh? He may survive a leadership review. But I have to ask the question, do you not have a better candidate? Seriously, folks, this guy lost his riding that he held for 20 years. And they're going to give you the excuse, oh, well, they gerrymandered him out. They changed the voting boundaries. They gerrymandered him. Well, they tried to Tony Baldinelli. He still won. PP, where he was riding, where he represented that riding as an MP. You think they don't want the prime minister to be from their riding? Why wouldn't they support him? But they didn't. He got thrown out. He had a 20-point lead at Christmas. And he blew that. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but that's not good. That's not good when you drop a 20-point lead. You can't get elected in your riding as a future prime minister. So I've got to say, is there nobody better? The only way he got a seat, he couldn't even sit in the House of Commons because couldn't even sit in Parliament because he didn't have a seat. He had to go to Alberta to some, I don't know, some town in northern Alberta where they're conservative for the last 100 years. And he had to ask that guy to step down so he could get in there and get elected and have a seat. I mean, come on. Come on. This is the guy that you got representing your party. Now, I have nothing against Poilievre. I have nothing against him. I voted for him. I voted for conservatives. But, I mean, after this election, you saw what happened. Please, you can't find somebody better. I've got to think you can find somebody better, but there isn't. Unfortunately, in this party, there isn't. Now, the guy that I'm watching is Doug Ford because he's talking like the opposition leader to Carnage. He's talking like it. So maybe he's going to try to grab a hold of the party to be leader of the party. I don't know. Now, even with all that against Poilievre, two conservative MPs crossed the floor and became liberals. Now, Carnage is just one seat away from having a majority. because two conservatives crossed over because they didn't like Poilievre's policies. I can't believe he's like that well liked in that. So I know Tony's backing him and says he's going to get in, but me personally, my opinion only, Tony would know better than I do. He's up there all the time listening to the floor. But from what I hear, I don't think the guy's even electable. To be honest with you, his policies aren't bad, but his demeanor, it's just not what the people can attach themselves to. He's very robotic and all that. And I know everybody said, well, the liberal left-wing media, we're going to crucify him no matter what he says. They'll take his words and they'll twist them. So he's got to watch everything he says. That's why he seems robotic and he sticks to a script. Yeah, but you still have to have personality. You still have to have personality. Something people can attach themselves to believe in. And I just didn't get any of that from PP last election. I didn't get any of that. Who's the alternative? Nobody. That's the problem. That's the problem. There is nobody. He may survive a leadership review, but is he going to survive an election? Because that's the important part. Stay tuned for this one. Stay tuned for this one. Ford is the guy who would probably have a shot. Not because he's any good. He's a liberal. He's a blue liberal. But at the end of the day, he is a personality and he does attract people. That right there could give him a little bit of an edge. We'll see if he goes. Another weird thing here. Canadians are on Trump about going in and getting Maduro. I mean, why don't they like this? The guy's a narco-terrorist, a dictator, treating his people like crap, running drugs, dealing drugs, cartel boss. And people in Canada don't like that Trump went in and took him out, got him the hell out of there and put him on trial in New York City. Well, let me tell you what it means for Canadians now that Trump did this. Because of your elbows up baloney and our idiot PM not being able to get a deal with Trump and refusing to build pipelines, the Keystone Pipeline, now they're screwed. Why? Because Trump is going to have control of Venezuelan oil, and they have the biggest oil reserves in the world. It's heavy oil, the same as they get out of Alberta. They don't need Alberta anymore. The United States has Venezuela. They do not need any oil, not a drop from Alberta at this point. Canada is out. Sad to say. What are you going to do with your oil, Alberta? What are you going to do? Where are you going to send it? They can't even refine it in Canada. It's heavy oil. They can't refine it. It's got to go to Texas to get refined. If they were smart, they would have built that pipeline. If they were smart, they would have made a deal with the states. But no, elbows up. So Canadians thought they would hold the U.S. hostage for oil. Now that's gone. That leverage is gone. Yeah, the U.S. can't do without Canadian oil. Guess what? The other way around now, you're going to have lots of oil and nowhere to put it. Now what? Well, I mean, there's a simple solution for Alberta. Come to 51st state. Somebody from Facebook said this, and I thought it was appropriate. God forgive me for this, but I hold such envy in my heart right now looking at America. What Trump has just accomplished in Venezuela is a historical win for the United States, as America is just getting more prosperous day by day and more free and stacking up wins. Canada is being ruled and reigned by a globalist, socialist lunatic, net zero WEF type Mark Carney, who dragged his feet on the pipeline stuff, and now we're so screwed because Venezuela is about to become the biggest supplier of crude for America. God forgive me for this envy. I didn't say that. Somebody posted that, a woman on Facebook, and I thought it was very, very poignant. Huh. It's not pretty. And the only way out is for Alberta now to talk to Trump and become the 51st state. And they'll automatically be moving their oil to the United States through pipelines that'll be approved by them and by Trump. And they'll be the premier supplier. And the Venezuelan crude will be sold all over the world, and the United States will keep some of it, but they'll also use Alberta's oil, and Alberta would become very, very well off. And if Alberta, they're already considering it, if this doesn't push them over the edge, then nothing will. It would make the most sense for Alberta to team up with the U.S. with their oil and become a rich state, probably one of the richest states, Texas and Alberta. Direct shot at Alaska through Alberta. Canada falls apart. Alberta's doing fine. The people are doing fine. More jobs, more everything. It only makes sense. And that's the position they've been put in by Carnage and all the elbows up Canadians. And while we're on that subject, Trump could be on Carney and Trudeau really quick as well. That's right. The election rigging has been exposed for Dominion, and Dominion voting systems are located in Toronto. Venezuela's voting machines have historically been supplied by Smartmatic, a company founded by Venezuelan engineers in 2000. We all know where the election rigging hubs were. Maduro's telling everything right now. He's talking. The director of national intelligence in the USA has been saying that over 20 countries worldwide have been having their elections rigged as well, not just the United States. And there's a lot of talk about that last election when Carnage won. So this is getting very interesting, and I can say that if that does happen, if they find out it was rigged in Canada too, or Canada had anything to do with it, Eli's coming. Hide your heart, girl. Yeah, Carnage and them could be in trouble too. And that's about it for me today. I'm closing this show down. Thank you so much for tuning in. There's some great topics there for you to digest. And let me know. Give me some comments. Let me know what you think. We want to know, who do you think is going to be running for Niagara Falls? Is amalgamation a possibility before the October 26th election? Will things change dramatically for Niagara Falls and the voters? It's going to be interesting. We still have the operations budget to come out for Niagara Falls. I think the meeting is January the 20th or something like that. I haven't seen the books yet, but it's going to be a tight squeeze to get through them all. We haven't seen the operations budget yet. It should be out anytime, hopefully on Thursday. That's when they release stuff, it seems. But we need it, and the councilors need it. How are the councilors going to go through it and figure it out if they don't have it? I don't get it. The work involved to go through this stuff, like, it is a lot of work. And I don't know if the councilors get the same stuff we do or if they get more detailed reports, but either way, there's a lot to go through. And I know I'm going to be watching what they say about the Innovation Hub and a couple other things in there. I can't wait to get it and go through it, but they better give me enough time. I mean, gee, I got to go through it and look at it myself. Anyway, we'll take care of that when it comes out. I'll let you know so you can go in there and look at it too if you want. Other than that, that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. Tomorrow is Habsolutely All Habs All Show. We'll talk about the Habs' fantastic week and what's going on in the next week. World Juniors, a little bit about that tomorrow too. Not too much though. Canada got bronze medal, better than nothing. And then we'll move on to Thursday, Your City, Your Voice. Well, I'll get into the stuff that I wanted to talk about today. I never got to, and a little bit more about candidates and what's going on. And if I hear anything else, I'm sure I'm going to get some messages about this. Anyway, don't forget to support our sponsors, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop and Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. God bless you all. My name is Paul Calamere. This is Your City, Your Voice, coming to you from the studios of 4680Q, downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe, cost you nothing. Subscribe, like, comment. See ya on Thursday with Your City, Your Voice. If you're a Habs fan, chuck in here tomorrow and you can hear what's going on with the Habs. It's been a fantastic week. Players are coming back. You'll love the show if you're a Habs fan. Take care. I will talk to you. Your City, Your Voice Thursday. Tomorrow, absolutely. See ya later.